Okay, let's get right into it. So one thing I love about this book is it's very digestible. It's 10 chapters. At the end of each chapter, she will pose a couple questions to you about the chapter. Then there's pictures. And so it's a great right before bed book. It's not a ton of pages and a lot of it's photos. This is a great way if you're just like, I need some help. I don't want to be overwhelmed. What can I do? This is it. This is great. You can just read one chapter a night. So chapter 1, she talks about simplifying your space, which, as you know, here on my channel, I'm all about that. I always say that the more things that you have in your house is more stuff that you have to manage. And even if you have it tucked away, you still know it's there, and it still can be stressful and add a burden to your already stressful day. She talks about creating a space that's decluttered and that's meaningful, that brings you peace. Your home should be your peaceful place to recharge. And the way that you can do that is through your routines. And so she touches a little bit on that. She also touches on something that coincides with that I kind of forgot about until I reread this book, and that's building traditions and special moments for your family. So if you have a house that's decluttered, you've designated those spaces for meaningful things, like your dining room is a place for you to gather with your family and enjoy a meal and enjoy each other. It's not a place that gathers, crap on the table, things like that. She gives you easy examples to start maybe building traditions within your house. Maybe, Friday night's pizza night, things like that. Very easy options that you can implement right away to create more meaningful moments with your family, which I just think that was such a cool takeaway from that. Chapter 2 is Simplified Style. Oh, and I love this one too. I'm a stylist. I do think that there is something to be said about getting yourself up, putting your best foot forward, putting a little bit of makeup on, doing your hair. Again, you don't need those things to be pretty. You are pretty naturally. However, I feel more confident when I feel like I've put a little effort into how I look. Now, this does not have to be this labor-intensive, huge routine. There are so many shortcuts. You want to know some shortcuts, or you want to see a really fast beauty routine, leave a comment below. But she talks about having like a go-to makeup, 5-minute makeup, and also simplifying your closet so that you can get ready quicker. And we're going to I'm going to go through each one of these chapters separately, and we're going to do this stuff together. So I can't wait to do this along with you. But that's chapter 2. Chapter 3, she talks about simplified meals. And this one is oh my gosh, it's so good, because I don't know about you guys, but I literally go into like a fit of rage sometimes in my head when my family says, "What's for dinner? What are we having for dinner?" And I'm just like, I can't think of another meal. Maybe that's just me. It's just like dinner time can just be so frustrating. I'm either like a chef or I'm like calling it in. I'm not dealing with it. I've totally checked out. Anyways, she talks about simplifying meals. And one of the things that she tells you to do is obviously purge first, because purging is the key. The less crap you have around you, everything in your life is going to be easier. Cooking, getting ready, cleaning, everything. So she tells you to purge, and then she also created zones. And I think I stole this from her in my kitchen organization video, and I forgot that I got it from her. So thank you, Emily. I'm sorry I didn't give you credit for that. Creating zones in your kitchen is so awesome. And what I mean by that is we have an area that's just sides, and we have an area that's just condiments, and we have an area that's just Italian food. And the reason I like to do that is because when those get low, I know I can't make certain meals without those key ingredients. And so it triggers for me to reorder them. And then when I'm looking for inspiration for dinner, I can check out those zones and see what I have and then build a meal from there. Another thing that she suggests is having 5 go-to meals and then eventually 10 go-to meals, so that when you are feeling uninspired, you can pull from those. Also, she talks about using technology to your advantage, and I'm a huge proponent of this. I will order groceries in bed from the Walmart app and pick them up first thing in the morning, and I love it. And it also, the more you use whichever app you decide to, these apps are so advanced that they will trigger you to order what you normally order. So if you're not taking advantage of that, do it, guys. It will save you money because it will decrease your impulse buys. Plus, if you do it from the convenience of your home, you can literally look in your cabinets and say, am I out of cereal or am I good? Utilize technology. It's so helpful. All right, the next chapter, chapter 4, is a simplified schedule. And I am so excited that I reread this book because I needed to hear that. I know that the routines that we do every day, that is how you achieve your goals, guys. Plugging in the activities that are going to take you where you want to go, it has to be in our routines, especially if you're a crazy busy person. There really isn't huge chunks of time anymore for you to just bang out projects. So you have to take advantage of those pockets of time and the compound effect of that. So working on it for 30 minutes a day, isn't that big of a deal, but you compound that over a week and all of a sudden you really made some headway on something that you hadn't started for 6 months. She talks about simplifying your schedule and finding a system that works for your family. I think this is really important. And also, don't be afraid to delegate. she talks a little bit about this too. So if there's items in your schedule that you know you don't have room for, can you hire that thing out? Can you hire someone to help clean? Can you subscribe to a meal service that will deliver you meals? When you simplify your schedule, you can really see where you need help and what is really taking up time that's not giving you the most reward back. So the fifth thing she has on there for chapter 5 is simplifying your finances. This is another one where I feel like technology can really help you out. And I think it's so important to know where you start. So if you're someone who is not really into budgeting and you don't really care or know what's going on with your money, I highly encourage you to just take an hour even and go through your online statements. That's a great way for you to see where your money's going. There's so many apps. I use Intuit QuickBooks app for my business, and it's on my phone. It links to my bank account, so I can classify transactions that way. You can also use that just for your personal accounting. Knowing where you are, knowing where your money's going is so important. She touches on that. And then she also touches on decreasing your debt. I know there's tons of videos out there about this. Dave Ramsey has a lot if you're looking to really get rid of debt. But the part about getting rid of debt, it's not just about not having the debt. And I think some people that are living lives where they make a good amount of money and maybe they're not having to track their budget as often are just as guilty of, having issues with their account as people that are living paycheck to paycheck. Because if we don't know what's happening, it's so hard to plan, right? The more that we have going out, the more bills we have, the more we have to manage, just like our things, right? The more we have, the more we manage. And so when you can pay down some of those debt, it's not just about saving you money, saving you interest, but now it's one less thing, one less bill you have to remember. It's one less statement you have to file away. So if you're not doing it to save money, which is, I think most of us, we're just trying to save money. That's what we're doing. But I'm also loving the idea of not having so much overhead, so much to budget for. Because if I don't have so much overhead, then maybe I don't have to work as many hours, which is going to free me up to do some things that I really want to do, like spend time with my family. Okay, the sixth thing on there, this was kind of a unique one, but I really enjoyed it as well, and that was simplified hospitality. And she just talks about spending more time with people. We're designed to be around people. I think we learned that the hard way in 2020, and it was very lonesome for a lot of us, and it's just so important to plug in. It doesn't have to be with a lot of people, but to have a few friends that you can have fellowship with and bounce ideas off and just have fun with. I think it's so important. So she gives you some practical ideas for simple recipes for hosting. She also encourages you to take that hospitality factor and apply it to your family, like your children and your spouse as well. She had an example of taking, if you have multiple children, taking each kid out on a one-on-one date, maybe alternating weeks or months. I thought that was a great idea. I also loved the part she talked about having a master calendar that has birthdays and maybe a card box with all different types of birthdays so that you can plug in and just make people around you feel special, people that you care about. She also had guest supplies that she gave you some examples of what to keep on hand if you were having people over, and you could throw together a little improv hospitality. So I loved that. And then she also touched on with your spouse as well, like treating them to some of that hospitality. And I know it's really hard and we all are stretched so thin, but just maybe once in a while taking that little extra effort to make your spouse or one of your children, or all of your children, not one of your children, but taking that time to plug into your children and make them feel special. I just thought that was so cool, and it's always good to have a reminder of how that can impact your relationships in the long run. Now, the theme here is decluttering. Chapter 7, she talks about simplifying technology, and the first thing she says is to declutter your digital space. I know I am so guilty of this one. I don't know about you guys, but I can see what's around me if it's, packed and stressful and needs decluttering, but my phone, I can kind of hide it a little better. Same thing with my laptop. And so she talked about purging files, photos, things like that to not only help, clear that out so you can save space for the stuff that you really want or the new stuff coming in. Also, it just makes it more efficient for you to find what you're looking for. Your technology, your computer and your phone will work better if it's not bogged down with a bunch of excess stuff that you're not needing. She also talks about creating a system for this to keep this organized. Confessional, I have a MacBook and an iPhone, and I just never really got on board with Microsoft Outlook. And I forgot that I bought Office for my computer, so I'm like, oh, I'll just check it out. I am like totally geeking out over Microsoft Outlook and its organizational potential for my emails. I freaking love it. I'm so excited. Another thing that I did, and I don't know whose video I watched that I got this idea, but if you guys want to see a video on this, leave a comment below. But I made a screensaver on my laptop for me to visually organize files because I'm a visual person. And so I'm also a real estate agent, and then I have a salon that I am self-employed. So I have a lot of files. I have real estate files. I have my statements for my other business. This just gives me a system to keep it organized. And I'm constantly downloading documents. I don't know if you guys have jobs like that where you're downloading tons of stuff. And a lot of that stuff, I only need it for that second and then I can delete it. And so I actually created a folder of, delete after, so that I can just dump stuff in there and then I keep it for 30 days and then I just throw the whole thing in the trash. So creating a system is huge. The next chapter she has on there was Simplified Self-Care. And I do think YouTube does a really good job of promoting the self-care videos, right? But just so you know, self-care isn't always just like face masks and beauty treatments. Self-care is going to the beach and leaving your phone in the car. It's unplugging. It's allowing yourself to have a day to sit on the couch and watch Netflix with your spouse. She talks about understanding what triggers you to have those like stressful moments and those I'm on the verge of a breakdown type of moments, and allowing yourself some self-care to keep that from getting to that point. And so I thought that was really cool. She also encouraged you to, move your body. That's a great way to provide self-care. You're gonna have more energy, you're gonna feel better. And then also brain dumping, and that's just a blank piece of paper and a pen and just getting it out of your head and then organizing it after. Sometimes it's just that purge of getting it all out there is all you need to feel better. The 9th chapter she had was Simplified Motherhood. I'm gonna go really fast over this because we're not all, moms. So I don't want to like beat a dead horse with this. We know moms are stressed, right? We are doing all the things. But she talks about the traditions, creating traditions with your family, like we talked about earlier, creating routines that can help you. So if your kids get up in the morning and they have to have breakfast and you have to do hair while they're doing breakfast, I've seen where moms will keep detangling spray and a hairbrush there, and while their kids are eating breakfast, they're putting their hair up. So figuring out spots in your routine that will make your life easier and make those everyday moments, those things that have to happen no matter what, go a little bit smoother. She also talks about chores. And then one thing she said in here that I thought was cool was deciding what virtues you want to pass down to your children or to teach your children. And I thought that was a cool one. So I have teenage boys at home still, and I want to teach them some certain, characteristics that I want them to have to be a good husband or roommate or friend. And so keeping that in mind and implementing those things that you want to pass down to them. Okay, and then the last thing on the last chapter she had was Simplified Faith. And this one, I think is so important. And I think part of the chaos that's going on around the world is a little bit, no, I'm not even going to edit it. I feel like the chaos going on around the world is greatly to do with us separating from God. I said it. Maybe I'm not your cup of tea, that's okay. But I think I see it in my own life, and when I'm not taking the time to plug in to God and to his word and to his teachings and guidance, I feel it in my life. And I see it in my life, and my life gets more hectic. I get more stressed. I'm more short with my kids. My health takes, a toll. And so she talks about ways that you can plug in to feel better and to get your cup filled so that you can help other people. I think that's so huge. And then this is just a sidebar. Elevation Church, I'm going to leave it linked down below. It's one of my favorite online churches. I just think it's so relatable. It's so current. It doesn't feel like a place of judgment. It feels like a place where you can go and learn and understand God and want to have a relationship with God. And you can do it anywhere from the comfort of your house. So if you've had a bad experience with church or organized religion, this is something that you can stream on, Monday morning if you want, whenever you need it. I think it's a great way, especially if you're reluctant to plug in somewhere. I think this is a great, easy, non-committal way for you to learn about God and see how he can impact your life. Here's my plan for this channel. If you made it to the end of the video, hallelujah chorus, because this was a long one. Here's where I'm going with this channel is I want it to be a more focused on making your life better, making your life easier. So I'm going to show you the ways that I have learned and implemented it within my household to streamline what we're doing so that we have more time to do the things that we love. And so that is where I'm taking this channel, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Okay.
Right now I'm standing in the corner. I see you from across the room. It's kinda crowded here, but I know you see me too. Everybody's singing, oh.